Many people walking the difficult path of healing from gut issues, candida or fungal overgrowth, have an expectation that once the sugar is removed, the antifungals are started, and the supplements are in place, the body will start to noticeably change. Not only will gas and bloating settle, but energy will improve. And the stubborn, lingering weight will start shifting. I thought the same, yet for many of us, that's not what happened. Weeks, months, and even years pass. Yet you still can't lose weight. You are doing everything right. Cutting out sugar, processed foods, and keeping the carbs to a minimum. You've even got the body moving. But the scale simply does not move, or worse, it climbs up. At this point, some people assume the candida must be more aggressive than they thought. But what if it's not the candida at all? What if the body is not refusing to lose weight because candida is still there, but because your nervous system is locked in survival mode? Survival mode is when the body is more interested in protecting you from danger than healing or losing weight. In survival mode, cortisol is silently dictating everything happening beneath the surface. This is one of the most overlooked truths in chronic healing. It's not the candida or the fungal overgrowth or any other issue you are dealing with. It is simply chronic stress. And it does not have to be overt, it could be low-level stress that has been there so long, you no longer notice it. It has become part of your identity. A prolonged fight or flight physiology can create the perfect environment for gut dysfunction and microbial imbalance to thrive. But it can also block you from losing weight. Chronic stress weakens immunity, alters gut microbiome, disrupts metabolism, and creates conditions for a multitude of symptoms to emerge. Long before candida becomes a viable diagnosis. Candida is merely a messenger. While consistently elevated levels of cortisol are often the driver. When the body perceives danger, whether that danger is physical, emotional, environmental, relational, financial, or even subconscious, the brain activates the sympathetic nervous system. This is your fight or flight, freeze or fawn response. It is not designed to be harmful to you. Rather, it is designed to keep you alive when a threat is present. The problem begins when this system never gets switched off. It is the body's response to emotions, whether those emotions are generated by a real event or simply by your mind. It cannot distinguish between the two. So whether you're being chased by a rabid dog, living under constant financial tension, or have underlying trauma that you never processed, the response is the same. Your body will release the same set of stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline. But once the rabid dog is gone and you're out of danger, your body discharges the fear and returns to homeostasis. Whereas if you are worried about bills or losing your job, you carry that fear with you constantly and the emotions remain present, keeping the body on high alert with stress hormones elevated. To your biology, unresolved emotional stress, stored trauma, hypervigilance, toxic environments, chronic uncertainty, perfectionism, financial fear, people-pleasing, suppressed emotions, and subconscious beliefs of unsafety, all register the same way, as threats. When this happens, cortisol remains elevated. And cortisol affects all the body's systems. It raises blood sugar to provide quick energy for survival, in case you have to run or fight. That excess glucose stimulates insulin release. Elevated insulin makes fat storage easier and fat burning significantly harder. This is especially true around the abdomen, where cortisol tends to encourage visceral fat accumulation. At the same time, cortisol slows digestion because digestion is not a priority when you're fighting for survival. Blood flow is redirected away from the gut and toward muscles and alertness systems. Stomach acid production can drop. Digestive enzymes become less efficient. Motility slows or becomes erratic. This creates the perfect internal environment for bloating, gas, poor nutrient absorption, microbial imbalance, and cravings. In other words, the symptoms often blamed entirely on Candida may actually be downstream effects of a nervous system that has not felt safe for a very long time. This is why many people stay trapped in frustrating cycles, or loops as I prefer to call them. They attack the gut harder, and because they initially see a little relief, they become hooked. They think, oh, I need another round of antifungals, more restriction in my diet, or more supplements. But every added layer of pressure can unintentionally reinforce the body's perception that it is under threat, and the body responds exactly as it was designed to do. It protects. It conserves. It holds on and perceives things through a distorted lens. For instance, you want to lose weight. It asks, is this necessary for survival? And often the answer is, not right now. Sometimes it overreacts, treating certain foods as bad, leading to histamine intolerance and MCAS symptoms, because it has been on high alert for so long, looking for a danger that never arrives. It starts to perceive danger in the foods we eat because it's exhausted. It can even change your personality. You receive a job offer, and instead of being happy, you start catastrophizing. What if they change their mind? What if they don't like me or I don't fit in? It could look like being disorganized or clutter because of a fear of letting go of things, just in case. Or an inability to enjoy life because you put everything on hold until you feel you have earned it or you're relaxed enough to enjoy it. These are signs that you experienced tough times or situations and you never discharged the emotions from the body, so you're stuck in a loop. The body hates the incomplete loops or energetic blocks because they are stagnant energy in the body. And stagnation leads to illness if not addressed in time. After a long time in these states, many people assume they are part of who they are, their identity. My roadmap and phased protocol highlights this directly. Elevated cortisol can suppress immune function, impair gut repair, worsen blood sugar regulation, and ultimately stall healing altogether. And that's why I believe a nervous system-led approach works best. Because the body needs to be in safe mode before it can be on board with healing and losing weight. The body doesn't care about weight loss when it believes its very survival is at stake. Weight loss is not considered essential by a nervous system preparing to flee danger. Safety is. This raises an important question. How do you know if cortisol and fight or flight are the real reason your body is holding on to fat? The answer often lies in the patterns. If you are eating clean consistently and moving your body, yet still struggling to lose weight, especially around the abdomen, cortisol may be involved. If you wake up wired but tired, exhausted yet unable to fully relax, this is another clue. If you experience sugar cravings, disrupted sleep, racing thoughts, jaw tension, shallow breathing, irritability, anxiety, heart palpitations, feeling on edge, difficulty sitting still, or a constant internal sense that something is wrong even when life appears calm, your nervous system may be signaling chronic sympathetic activation. Sometimes the signs are subtler. You feel guilty for resting. You struggle to switch off. You feel unsafe slowing down. You believe that if you stop pushing, everything will fall apart. These beliefs are not personality traits. They are often protective nervous system adaptations. My protocol points to this in the exploration of subconscious beliefs and the way hidden internal narratives can keep the body in a sustained alert state. This includes how we see ourselves or even how we speak about ourselves. For example, you often hear people say things like, "I always get the flu in winter," or "I'm always bloated," or "I'm prone to headaches." This kind of talk unintentionally becomes a command to your body to recreate these states, because you have accepted them as part of your identity. Many times I have spoken to people who associate so much with being ill they are afraid of what will happen if they get better. One woman received constant care from her partner after she became ill. She said herself, "For once I'm getting his attention." This is why we need to start with awareness, bringing our attention to what we are thinking, saying, and feeling. That is the most important step in understanding our own loops. The inability to lose weight can actually be one of the clearest indicators that the body is still in fight or flight. Not proof that Candida is winning. Proof that the body does not yet feel safe enough to release the weight. So the question then shifts from, what else do I need to kill, to, what does my body need in order to feel safe? That is a profoundly different healing approach. It requires nervous system regulation before any attempt at antifungals. In fact, get this part right and you may not need antifungals. In today's world, stress is a huge driver in people's lives. To the point where many no longer realize it. So reducing stress is a must. Addressing emotional load, unresolved fear, trauma or subconscious, survival beliefs. Sometimes the body needs fewer interventions and more regulation. When cortisol begins to fall and the nervous system shifts back into parasympathetic safety, digestion often naturally improves. Blood sugar stabilizes. Sleep deepens. Inflammation reduces. Hormonal signaling becomes clearer. Then fat metabolism can finally begin. And often, the weight that felt impossible to lose begins to release naturally. Not because you found the perfect supplement. Not because you discovered a stronger antifungal. But because your body no longer feels it must hold on to fat for protection. If you are doing everything right, and still not seeing change, consider this possibility with compassion. Your body may not be resisting you. It may be protecting you. And that protection may be the strongest clue that your healing journey is asking for nervous system safety, not more microbial warfare. You can start with very simple steps. Your nervous system craves a stable routine. Going to bed early and waking up early. Eating at regular set times and possibly limiting meals to breakfast and dinner. This gives the body more time to relax and repair rather than spend energy in digestion. Simple grounding every day, 15 minutes of bare feet on the grass or hugging a tree, yes, literally placing your hands on a tree. Humming for 5 minutes a day, do it in the shower or as you drive to work, it calms the vagal nerve. Bring awareness to what you are doing and ask, why am I doing this? If it is something you choose to do, something of benefit, or if it is your survival brain pushing it. These micro habits will compound and eventually make all the difference. You will notice yourself becoming more calm, thinking more and questioning your behaviors and patterns. Ultimately removing those that don't serve you. Do you think your nervous system is in survival mode? Comment below. Support this channel by subscribing, liking and commenting, and turn on notifications for updates on new videos.